Hey music lovers, ready to take a timeless journey back to the golden era of the 1970s? We're counting down the most legendary singers and musicians from the 70s who are still rocking the world today. So buckle up, hit that like button, and trust me, you'll want to watch till the very end. Angus Young, the electrifying co-founder of DC, still shreds his guitar with the same schoolboy energy that made him a rock legend in the 1970s. Larry Van Crete, the original bassist for us, may have left the band early, but his musical legacy still echoes in the roots of hard rock. Michael McDonald, with his soulful voice and smooth keys, remains the velvet glue of the Doobie Brothers' timeless sound. Tom Hamilton, the steady-handed bassist of Aerosmith, is still rocking stages decades after laying down the grooves for classics like Sweet Emotion. Johnny Graham, the funky guitarist behind Earth, Wind and Fire's iconic sound, continues to keep the spirit of 70s soul and funk alive. John Deacon, Queen's quiet genius on bass, may have stepped away from the spotlight, but his riffs still thunder through rock history. Stevie Wonder, the musical prodigy who redefined soul in the 70s, continues to be a living symphony of talent and inspiration. Peter Frampton, the voice box wizard of Frampton Comes Alive, still proves that his guitar really does talk back. Joey Kramer, Aerosmith's hard-hitting heartbeat, helped drive the band's rise to rock royalty and still keeps the rhythm alive. Joe Perry, Aerosmith's guitar god, is still blazing solos that sound like fire and thunder wrapped in leather and attitude. Agnetha Feltskov, the golden voice of ABBA, remains a pop icon whose melodies still sparkle across generations. Billy Joel, the piano man himself, keeps selling out stadiums while writing the soundtrack to America's heart. Bruce Springsteen, the boss, still belts out anthems of working-class dreams with the same fire he lit in the 70s. Geezer Butler, Black Sabbath's heavy-handed bassist, laid the foundation of metal and is still thundering through the genre he helped forge. Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness himself, may have mellowed with age, but his wild legacy with Black Sabbath still howls through rock history. Lindsey Buckingham, the driving force behind Fleetwood Mac's golden era, still plays guitar with a precision that cuts like a poetic storm. Roger Taylor, Queen's powerhouse drummer with a voice to match, is still keeping the beat behind one of rock's most legendary legacies. Alice Cooper, the godfather of shock rock, is still combining horror and glam with a theatrical flair that never dies. Jackson Browne, the soulful troubadour of the 70s, continues to turn life's quiet moments into timeless lyrical journeys. James Taylor, the soft-voiced storyteller of songs like Fire and Rain, still soothes hearts with his warm, introspective style. Al McKay, the funky guitarist behind Earth, Wind and Fire's unstoppable groove, still knows how to make a crowd move. Tom Johnston, co-founder of the Doobie Brothers, continues to rock stages with his gritty vocals and southern-tinged riffs. Patrick Simmons, the only constant member of the Doobie Brothers, still brings the laid-back cool that helped define the band's signature sound. Donald Fagen, the cool, cerebral co-founder of Steely Dan, still grooves in jazz rock sophistication like it's the golden age of vinyl. Patti Smith, the punk poet of the 70s, remains a fierce force of artistic rebellion with a pen as sharp as her voice. Iggy Pop, the shirtless godfather of punk, still oozes raw energy like he's ready to leap off the stage and into legend again. Ian Anderson, the flute-wielding frontman of Jethro Tull, remains one of rock's most theatrical storytellers with a sound as unique as his stance. Mick Fleetwood, the towering heartbeat of Fleetwood Mac, is still keeping time with the same mystical rhythm that made history. Don Henley, the voice behind Hotel California, still sings with the haunting depth that made the Eagles an American soundtrack. Joe Walsh, the wild card guitarist of the Eagles, is still delivering riffs with a wink, a grin, and a whole lot of soul. Timothy B. Schmidt, the sweet voice bassist of the Eagles, continues to harmonize like a breeze rolling across the desert. Benny Andersson, the musical mastermind of ABBA, still spins melodies that light up dance floors from Stockholm to the world. Brian May, Queen's guitar sorcerer with a PhD in astrophysics, still makes the cosmos sing with every note of his homemade Red Special. Eric Clapton, the only man inducted into the Rock Hall 3 times, still bends blues into pure magic with fingers touched by fire. Linda Ronstadt, the voice that conquered rock, country, and opera, may have retired from singing, but her vocal legacy still echoes with power. Barry Gibb, the falsetto king of the Bee Gees, continues to shine bright, staying alive through the timeless pulse of disco. David Gilmour, the soul of Pink Floyd's soundscape, still makes his guitar weep like it's floating on a dream. John Paul Jones, Led Zeppelin's quiet architect, remains a master of every instrument he touches, from thunderous bass to ethereal keys. Neil Young, the restless rebel of rock and folk, still sings with a rawness that pierces straight through the noise of time. Rod Stewart, with that raspy, unmistakable voice, still struts through life like it's one endless encore of rock and roll charm. Bob Seger, the voice behind America's Open Roads, still rides the wind with songs that feel like a night drive through the 70s. Van Morrison, the mystical soul behind Brown-Eyed Girl and Moondance, still weaves poetic magic like a Celtic bard of rock. Steven Tyler, Aerosmith's wild frontman with a scream that shook stadiums, still struts like rock and roll is a catwalk built just for him. Ian Pace, Deep Purple's thunderous drummer, remains the heartbeat of hard rock with sticks that still blaze like fire. Tony Iommi, the riff master who birthed heavy metal with Black Sabbath, still plays like every note is forged in steel. Bill Ward, the rhythmic engine behind Black Sabbath's dark grooves, laid down the beat that made Metal March. Dolly Parton, the queen of country and rhinestones, still shines with a voice as golden as her harp. Stevie Nicks, the enchantress of Fleetwood Mac, still casts spells with every raspy lyric and swirling shawl. Robert Plant, Led Zeppelin's golden god, still roars with the mythic power that once shook the heavens of rock. Elton John, the Rocket Man himself, may have stepped back from touring, but his legacy keeps soaring across generations. Pete Townsend, the Who's guitar-swinging visionary, still echoes through rock history with every windmill strum. Roger Glover, Deep Purple's thunderous bassist, laid down the grooves that made smoke rise from the water and amps alike. Ian Gillan, the voice behind Deep Purple's metal opera, still roars with the force of a rock and roll hurricane. Ritchie Blackmore, the brooding genius behind Deep Purple and Rainbow, carved guitar riffs into rock's granite foundation. John McVie, the steady soul of Fleetwood Mac, still holds down the groove like the calm eye in a storm of hits. Annie Fridlingstead, ABBA's flame-haired soprano, still glows in pop culture's memory like a disco ball catching the light. Björn Ulvaeus, the songwriting brain behind ABBA, keeps dancing queens twirling with every timeless melody he helped create. Roger Daltrey, the Who's lion-voiced frontman, still belts with the raw force that once defined a generation's rebellion. Nick Mason, Pink Floyd's rhythmic architect, remains the quiet pulse behind music that still echoes on the dark side of the moon. Jimmy Page, the sonic sorcerer of Led Zeppelin, still holds the spellbook that shaped generations of guitar gods. Joni Mitchell, the poetic soul of the 70s, still paints with words and melodies that stretch far beyond the skyline of folk. Roger Waters, the mastermind behind Pink Floyd's conceptual brilliance, continues to provoke thought like a lyrical architect of rebellion. Paul McCartney, the melodic heart of the Beatles, remains a living legend with a songbook that shaped the soundtrack of the world. Bob Dylan, the Nobel laureate troubadour troubadour still whispers truths through verses that feel like riddles carved in time. Paul Simon, the poetic traveler of sound, still stands as a bridge over troubled waters, with a legacy rich in rhythm and rhyme. And there you have it. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing music stories and nostalgia. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep the music alive.